What's up, slackers? I know, sorry for taking too long on the stream. I know I said I was going to stream the whole weekend, but, yeah, it's been an exhausting time. I'm a little tired out. I've been trying to set up so much stuff now, but, to get to the point, what we're going to be doing today is, we're going to take a little bit more further with my buddy's build. I'm going to do a couple things on it. I kind of want to surprise him a little bit. I know he's going to probably be watching this, so I wanted to do some cool stuff that would basically, I don't know, to surprise him on stream. So I got a couple goodies that I'm going to replace of his with some things I got him that I thought maybe that he should upgrade and stuff like that. So let me know how audio is and how everything else is going. I'm a little tired. I've been going crazy trying to set up everything. Make sure you check out the links below. It's with all the products that I work with. Boy, was that a pain to set up, but we're all good now. We're all ready to go. And yes, it's a miracle. So, I don't know. What are you guys up to? How is the weather by you? Because the weather by me kind of sucks right now. I could be on a boat like somebody was saying in the chat, but we're here with you fine folks. So, what's going on? What are you guys up to? Let me adjust this camera angle a little bit. I was kind of messing with it. Oh, jeez. Oh, cables. I got so many cables going around. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. So, let's see. So, what's going on, slackers? Yeah, so I wanted to title the stream. If you watched the last stream, we were talking about this build and what we were doing. We basically had the Lillian Lee. It's I think the 011. It's basically the Rogue Edition. It's unfortunately it says Devour on it. It should say moi on it, but it doesn't. But hey, what are we gonna do? Maybe we could change that in the build. I'll get into that maybe in the next stream. But yeah, so we're using an Asus B450. I think it's the gaming. Remember the links below if you want to get the same parts. You can check them out. I added some cool new things. Before we had the rad setup going on the side. We're using a Thermaltake CL360. I wanted to get one. I'll go over it in a second, but I ended up replacing that. We ended up going with the EK. Whoa! Before I break everything, res and pump reservoir. Can't talk today. I didn't have enough rubble before this, so you gotta excuse me a little bit. But we ended up going with the pump and reservoir from EK. EK sent me a bunch for the newest build that I'm doing. You know, that big monsters build. Alright, might as well bring it up here. You know this thing. It's monstrous. It's huge. But yeah, so I ended up getting a bunch for those from EK. So I wanted to, I don't know, I liked them so much. I was like, man, we gotta get you one of them. So I ended up getting him one of those. I thought it looks nice. We're gonna keep it clear on the other side. So just to make it look better. Whenever I build my PCs and stuff, it's kind of almost like an artwork, you know. But I don't like to do everything enclosed. I like to open pieces up, mess around with it. But so you see we've made some progress, but I've literally switched this around probably about 100 times. I thought we were running maybe a little bit light on the bottom. If you see, we have three basically Thermaltake RGB fans. He loved the Thermaltake versions. I like the EK ones too. I have a bunch of those. Those are really good if you want to check those out. The Thermaltake ones are in the link. I don't think I added the EK one, so my bad. But yeah, but I was kind of just staring at this for the past couple days and looking at it, and I was like, I think we need another rad at the bottom, because it's, I don't know, it's kind of looking not so good right there. So I want to change that. So I was going to surprise my buddy. So I ended up buying him, get this out of the way. I ended up buying him a bigger rad. So we wanted to go to basically the same company because all for the same look. But I actually mistakenly ordered the thicker version. Now, most people are going to say, well, isn't that going to get you more performance? To a point. You got to kind of jack up the fan RPMs before you want to really get into this. So, I don't know. I might end up having to return this one because it really just kind of takes up too much space. If you look at how it's in there now, if I do a push-pull setup, usually with a thick radiator like this, I'm going to do a push-pull setup and a higher RPM fan. But me putting another set of fans on here is pretty much going to make it I don't know. It's just going to make it look ugly. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to return this one and basically go with the normal 360. Again, the links, the thick ones in the link below. The thin ones also in the link below. So if you want to check those out, give me your thoughts on it. What do you guys think? I'll take some questions while I get my Red Bull in there. I thought we were buddies. You never built a PC for me. I think everybody thinks we're buddies and everybody wants a PC. I can't give a PC to everybody. And he's a bud. He always stays around, sticks around, doesn't leave me at all. So, oh, but yeah, just over that up. Let's see, what do we got here? 98 seconds late. You guys just love to bust on me, huh? I know, I messed up all weekend that I didn't get on the stream. But, hey, we're on the stream and we're going to basically have everything set up now. So, should be able to stream pretty easily now. So, once a week, most likely every Thursday, Friday, maybe a couple Sundays here and there. We're going to be doing all sorts of stuff. Whatever I think of, we'll end up doing. So, but the main part of this stream is I just kind of wanted to go over some of the parts. So you guys can get an idea of the build and where the build has gone so far. I wanted to surprise my buddy with another thing. And this brings up I don't know. I was originally going to go with the TT. I think it's listed in the link below. It's a smaller block, but it's also a cheaper version of the block. It's about $100 versus something like an EK block that's maybe like $300. So I figured I ended up buying these two blocks from EK. They were having a special, and basically they were a special version for July 4th. Also for oh my goodness, Shellback Tech. So what Shellback Tech does is he does a lot of stuff for veterans, helps them build. He does streams live on building PCs. Do yourself a favor, look him up. He had a nice, cool thing with EK, so I ended up having to get in there. They have some cool American flags that they put on the EK blocks. So what I'm going to do is give my buddy one of them. I ended up getting an AMD version. I want you guys to see this because this one's pretty cool. I saw that you could I have American flags all over, so basically I ended up having they put American flag on the block. So my buddy is very patriotic, so I wanted to make sure that he's going to get a cool-ass block. So if you look right here, I couldn't link to this directly because we don't have this on Newegg, but you could check it on probably EK's site. I'm not sure how many are for sale. This was basically on a donation. So my buddy's going to get one of these, and I think it's going to go nice with the build. I think he's going to really like it. So you're welcome, broski. So that's one thing we're going to end up having to put on. We're not going to do it now. I figured one of the nicest things to show you in a stream is we can always do tips and tricks and stuff. So one of the tips and tricks that I usually like to do is talk about GPUs, right? Graphics cards, whatever you want to call them. And I see this a lot on the forums about how people install blocks, and I don't know, there's a lot of wrong ways to do things, and there's also a lot of right ways to do things. So I figure we go over that today to see if the block even works. If you look right now, so we're going to end up doing a reference 1070. One of the reasons why I like usually a reference type card, or they call them Founders Edition. Basically the same thing, it's just NVIDIA changed the whole naming thing. But usually with reference cards, it's much easier to get blocks and parts for. A lot of the time, say you buy like an Asus Strix, it's a little bit harder to find a block for it. Usually companies like EK, they come out with something, but maybe it's a little bit after the fact. Usually right away they come up with a Founders block. So with the 1070, it actually made it a little bit difficult on trying to find a block because not many people are selling 1070s anymore. And he's not going to be running anything crazy as far as screenage wise. He's just going to be like a high def guy. So a 1070 is going to be perfectly fine for gaming and pretty much the artwork stuff that he's going to do. So, but the problem is trying to find a block with this is actually not the easiest thing. So, I ended up doing some research, trying to find some reference blocks, pretty much any 1080 Ti blocks, and to see if they have the support. So I ended up finding this Fantex block. This is the first time I'm using Fantex, so I don't really know the company all that well. But that's a good reason to use them, because then we can find out to see if they're any good. So, but yeah, so I have the Fantex block. This is for a reference 1080 Ti. A lot of the times you can use blocks for some generations on all the reference ones. You have to be very careful, so make sure you do some research, try to see what everybody else is doing, go through and, I don't know, always make sure it's, with PC building, it really is in the details, so you want to make sure that you keep track of what you're doing, make sure you don't do anything that you're not supposed to. But it is kind of fun at the same time, so can't not recommend it. But anyways, so yep. So he's going to be stoked about this block. I don't remember if I told him or not, but I really wanted him to have something special and make this PC quite beastly. I was really stoked to get the Rad, but unfortunately I ordered the thicker one rather than the thinner one. And it's really not good for this build because it's going to take up too much room. We originally, I guess we can say, he ended up buying a bunch of Thermaltake fans. So when I took the 3 fans out of here, I basically was like, what am I going to do with that? So I figured we're going to do a push-pull setup right here, just with the thinner Rad. But I got to see if I can find 360 Rads, because even like EK or all of them, it's really hard to find right now. They seem to be in back order. EK is sponsoring my big build over here, and I can't seem to even get 360s from them. So if you can find some 360s, man, make sure you keep a hold of them, because they're pretty awesome. So they're usually good for builds. I mean, instead of going with a 240 or a 120, 360 is usually a good all around. Highly recommend that if you're going to go in your first build. You'll notice in the description, I have a couple water cooling kits in there. So there's one by Thermaltake, a good, decent priced build. There's also an EK water cooling kit. So if you don't want to try to piece all your stuff together and you just want to go and have an all-in-one kit to build with, then that's basically what you can do, is just order the kit. These ones are soft tubing kits. They're not going to be the hardline tubing that we're eventually going to do on this. So it's going to be a little bit different. It's a little easier. If you want to take more time, go through some stuff, I definitely recommend the hardline. We'll probably end up doing a separate stream just all on that alone, so that way you can understand fittings, all the different types of things you can use for it. There's lots of options, lots of things to do. So let's see. So let's, I guess, get back to the GPU blocks. I think there was something I was gonna talk about and I can't remember it now. So, oh yeah, awesome thing to talk about. So before we get into the GPU blocks and start ripping everything apart, which is really fun by itself. So make sure if you're bored right now, it's gonna be quite exciting in a little bit. But I wanted to talk about a couple other things. So I don't know, I'm a PC guy. Usually, I don't know, we're kind of like mechanics, right? So usually we're always fixing somebody else's stuff. And a lot of the times when we fix other people's stuff, we kind of let our stuff go. So one of the big issues I had is I had an NVMe drive fail. And one of the reasons why you haven't seen much video from me, because all the video that I've taken for the past 4 or 5 months basically just went out the tubes. And usually I do backups, and of course, all the times that I talk about saying to do it, and of course, I didn't do it myself. So, I'm not going to let that happen again. So, I just want to give you a little sneak peek on what I'm building right now. So, these are good, cheap M2 drives, PCI 3 Gen 3s. I only need Gen 3s right now, not Gen 4s. I've heard some rumors going around that prices are going to go down on SSDs or NVMe's, pretty much all chips. But I don't know how much that is actually accurate. But I figured I'd just buy the 2 terabytes for now. So I bought these to go with this. Now what this is basically a high point RAID card. So what I'm going to end up doing is installing these 4 drives. And I'm going to end up installing, I don't know if you guys know what RAID is, but if you ever lose a hard drive, RAID is like your best friend. So as long as you set it up correctly. So what we're going to do is what's called a RAID 10, which is basically you have 2 drives set up. You basically have 2. And they're in a RAID 1 mirror, which means everything goes right from one to the other. Now, what makes this one special, because these drives are ultra fast. So what makes RAID 10 awesome is that it actually stripes in between. And disk striping is actually ultimately fast. So I'm really curious to see how these perform in that setup. It's not going to be part of this build. I just wanted to give a sneak peek of what's going to happen in the future, because this is going to go in the big build that EK is sponsoring. So, But just wanted to give you a sneak peek. If you wanted to check out these components yourself, you can buy them too. They're in the links below. Make sure you check them out. The NVMe, the Sabrent 2 terabytes, and then the High Point, I think it's the 7103. So these are pretty awesome stuff to do. This is going to be for my video editing. Basically, it's going to give me 4 terabytes of working space out of 16. But then if I lose one, I don't really care. The other thing is I was talking to Sabrent about what their warranties are. So they're good guys over there. They were basically talking to me. They give you actually a 1-year warranty on these. So if you don't register, you can basically, a 1-year warranty, you can go in and basically get a new drive. But if you register, you actually get a 5-year warranty. So a 5-year warranty is obviously pretty damn good. So you're going to want to make sure that you actually register your NVMe drives. So make sure you do that. The other thing is that what I love about Sabrent is that they give you a free version of Acronis. This software is awesome. This is great for basically if you have another drive and you want to transfer it to this and you don't want to go through installing all your software. You can use Acronis and actually take from a regular disk and put it to an NVMe disk. I think maybe we're going to have a stream for that because that's one of the coolest features about Acronis, and they give it to you for free. So, not a bad deal. So I'm just going to put this away and then we'll continue on. See if you have any questions, stuff like that. What do we got there? It says, I love the EK Web Pump Res. I have the 360 on my View 91. I know, isn't this thing pimp? I absolutely love it. I basically have a couple of them for my build, and I was looking at them, and I'm like, man, this whole build is missing something. So I'm figuring, I'm like, man, we need to spice it up a little bit. We need to make it, I don't know, slackified, if you know what I'm saying. So I figured it's a perfect spot. I'm going to do a couple things. I was thinking about doing, it's all about the details when you're doing this stuff, and then you don't have to go as crazy as I will or with the performance. You can always do your own way. But it's always nice to do like the subtle details and stuff like that. I have a lot of things planned for this build. We're going to probably replace all the stickers on it. Probably close up all the holes here. Make it really nice and sleek. But anyways, enough about the build. I think we need to get into the GPU block and see what's going on over here. Rock and roll. Well, Hellfire, it's Slacker Joe. What's going on? Had 3 Raptors in Raid once. Trust me. You want some type of RAID setup, and I'm not talking about a RAID 0 setup. A RAID 0 is basically just disk striping. That's why I'm doing RAID 10, because it's actually mirroring and striping. RAID 10's been around for probably years. I want to say that I set up thousands and thousands of dollars worth of RAID 10 back in the day. A lot of the times in editing, it's very good. This is going to be mostly a scratching disk where I'm going to take like stuff I record now, basically throw it on there. If I want to shoot raw, there's sometimes where I shoot with some really, really big files, and I don't want to be messing around with doing a compressed video, so I'm just going to do uncompressed. So it's a lot of files moving back and forth, so you want speeds and stuff like that. So if you're a VM user, so if you do a lot of virtual machines, awesome card. Also, if you do a lot of database management and you run them a lot of high transactions, stuff like that, or if you do like DBA work, you're gonna want someone with a RAID card and NVMe, man. It's fast, like ultra fast. So, let's see. Prepared for more failure with the RAID. Prepared for NVMe failure with RAID 1+0. Well, you better be. That's the whole plan. It says RAID is 40 of your closest friends. Well, I guess we got to come up with some crazy RAID jokes, huh? That'd be fun. All right. Let's see. Everyone. But yeah. So I guess let's get into doing the Waterblock because that's kind of fun. On the QVL list, a lot of the times I saw a question that and I just didn't answer. A lot of the times, a lot of these companies don't try all the blocks with everything. But that doesn't mean sometimes it's not going to work. So you're going to have to take your own risk at this one. So not that this is going to work with this card, but I don't know. You're pretty much at your own risk. So you want to make sure you do your checking and figuring out what's going on. There's pretty much basics of a water block. You'll see it's not too difficult. When we take apart the card, it's a little bit easier to see. But you'll see that a lot of the times you have a VRM cooler. You have basically these slots right here, which are basically for cooling the memory. And then you have the one big one, which is basically for cooling the GPU. So there's not too much to it. This one's pretty much a basic block, so I don't think we're going to have issues with mounting or anything. I'm pretty sure the 1070 is pretty close on the mounting with the 1080 Ti. I could be wrong. Either way, we're going to find out. So, all right. So, you guys got any more questions? I need to finish this Red Bull, so you guys got me for some questions in the meantime. It seems a little quiet there. We forgot music, didn't we? I think we need to change that up a little bit. Let me grab the keyboard. Yeah, if you like the music, basically do an epidemic sound. YouTube makes it a little interesting when it comes to doing music. I can't do too much without getting demonetized. The whole point is to stay monetized. Ooh, almost totally killed that Red Bull. Let's see what kind of genres we're doing. So, like I said, epidemic sound. Let's see, I always like to go for the hard rock or metal. It's one of my personal favorites, but I like a lot of music, but whenever I'm working on some computer stuff, I always like to get some metal going, pump up the vibe a little bit, because I'm exhausted, and it's Sunday. We gotta rock on before Monday, right? All right. Nothing wrong with a little metal. Metal makes the life better. What are my thoughts on water cooling RAM? I don't know. I think it's kind of a funny thing to talk about, because I hear people like say that water cooling memory is kind of useless. Let's see. Yeah, to be honest, it's not going to hurt you in any way. Water cooling your memory is definitely going to keep your memory temperatures down. Depending on the type of memory you're using, some don't really get that hot. But if you are overclocking, there is going to be some type of benefit with it. And if you're an extreme guy, that you like to do liquid nitrogen, or you like to do like cold water, it's not so bad that you put a chiller on your RAM to be able to get some more speeds out of it. So, I don't know. I feel like it gets a bad rap. I think it's pretty cool. I don't see what the big issue is where people complain about it, but hey, what are you going to do? Let's see. Block compatibility is one reason I think it's good to get reference cards if you're going to liquid cool. Exactly right. I think that's basically, they're easier to get if you want to try to find blocks. That's just kind of how it is, you know. Oh, Tullius, my favorite. What's up, dude? Haven't seen him in a while. Usually I see all my buddies at Computex, and we don't have that this year. It's really bumming me out, because that's one of my all-time favorite times. I need some travel right now. Being stuck in this cave can drive me nuts a little bit. I think I just need a boat day is what I need. Or to just hang out with you guys all day. Oh, it says, Bender Rodriguez, I seem to have trouble with RAM stability around 50C. Is this just me? I pretty much only play with VDI, or BDI. It's VDI. It's hard to say. One of the things you can do is go into your temp monitor, and, oh my god, what is the name of it? I can't remember it right now. One of the programs that I use for temp, I use it on here all the time, just having a complete blank. But if you use that, check to make sure that actually it is an issue. But yeah, you could try water cooling it. If temperatures are your issue, you're using too much volts, there's no reason that cooling it down is going to be detrimental to it. So, is it totally worth it? Depends on the memory. I know, like, say, I know Thermaltake's going to be brought up as the one for water cooling RAM. To be honest, Hynix memory actually does better when it's cooled. So, it's one of those things that it's not really a bad thing. It's just, people just get a little bit too much over it. It says you could bring us on the boat. That is exactly true. Problem is I need a bigger boat. But one of these days, we'll see. Will you be getting any new NVIDIA toys coming out? So, a little birdie told me, I don't know, we might see some aftermarket cards right away, so when released. So, we might have something. I don't know, I was talking to somebody yesterday, so stay tuned for that. So maybe we'll see some NVIDIA goodies soon. I don't know. Yeah, hardware. I don't know why it was so hard for me to say hardware info, but yeah, hardware info is definitely it. Let's see. I need to get a block for the 2080 Super. I have, or should I wait for new cards? I don't know. It depends on what kind of screenage you're going to be using. Obviously, I'd say I highly recommend going with some. I like more power, of course. I go overpower everything. But it depends on what you want to do. If you're going to upgrade to a new badass monitor, why not go with a better card? So, oh, Raging Cajun, 10 bucks. Thanks, bud. Keep up the good streams. Hey, I'm working on it. Got to get back in my groove. It's kind of been a while. This whole COVID thing kind of been all weird. But anyways. Oh, let's see. Wait for Big Navi. I don't know. I'm kind of excited, to be honest. Has anybody seen all the new pictures of Big Navi? I keep on seeing pictures flying around. It's some cool stuff. I'm still wondering if maybe I'm gonna take the plunge and maybe do it like e-power videos, but that could be a pain in the butt. Buried One, what's up, my little brother? How you doing, broski? All right, let's get into some of the GPU stuff because we're gonna kill some time here. It's gonna take a little bit to take this card apart. So you want to make sure you're paying attention. You're gonna have to get a really nice toolkit. So I highly recommend one of these. This is a shameless plug for my buddy over at Gamers Nexus. I think you guys know who he is. I don't know. He's a cool guy, or cool guys. You got Patrick's and all them fine folks. But the alleged $14.99 for the 3090 is hilarious. You think that's hilarious, man? You should have got the Titan V. The Titan V, I think, was $3,000. I remember I bought one of those and then I think I sold it for profit, actually. I think I sold it for $4,000. But that was just a lucky moment, you know. Oh, let's see. It says, has anyone checked out the MSFS 2020? I don't even know what the hell we're talking about here. But anyway, so if you're going to take apart your graphic card, you're going to need a good tool. Can't talk right now. Good toolkit. So Gamers Nexus makes a good, cool toolkit. I'm sure I'll probably end up figuring out something to put a link in the bottom, or a couple more toolkits, but I didn't think of it because I was in link hell last night, and the day before, and today too. But yeah, so you need a toolkit. Highly recommend this one, but if you can't find that, you're gonna need all sorts of tiny bits and stuff if you're gonna basically try to take away the rip the graphic card apart. Still can't talk today. Need more Red Bull. All the price for leaks, isn't it? Whatever. Well, I've heard that they're going to release aftermarket cards, so reference might not be the one to get. I have seen on the new graphic cards, though, like it's like split in half, and it looks like it's actually two different PCBs. So I don't know. That could be interesting because we might be able to just pop the power off and put an e-power there instead. But I don't know. Maybe we'll just get a KP or we will see. I guess that we're gonna have to leave that one for another stream, huh? So, all right. But anyway, so yeah. So I guess let's just get started into this. Let me move some stuff around. I tend to get a little cluttery. It's just how my life is. Always cluttery. So the first thing we're gonna do is, now, I wish I had my other camera. For some reason, I don't know if it's my cable or whatever, but I'm not gonna be able to do close-up shots. I think this will do pretty well for how we are now, but so yeah, we're gonna just start taking it apart. So you might as well just jump in. One of the things I would recommend is that you need to turn it down a tiny bit. One of the things you need to do is make sure you use the right screwdriver on these, because some of these screws are really tiny. You don't want to strip them out and basically cause yourself a lot of headache. So what I'm going to do is just basically start taking stuff apart. Now you want to keep the screws in a good order. That's where Gamers Nexus pad usually is good, where you can stick all the screws in there. I've done this many times, so what I like to do is I just like to orient them kind of just in the way that I'm doing it. So you'll see one there, and then what I'll do is I'll just keep taking it apart. and do the same. So that way when I'm putting it back together on the parts that I need to, I can put it back pretty easily. Because this is one of the tedious parts of putting all the screws in the right areas. Like, a lot of the time, so usually when I buy a graphic card, I never trust the manufacturer. So this is just something I've done for years. I always recommend this. Take apart your graphic card. I don't care if they say it will take your warranty or whatever. Most of these manufacturers, the way they apply paste is absolutely garbage. So what you do, what I highly recommend on anything you get, is always take it apart and basically reapply paste and yeah. So you heard it from here. All of them. It doesn't matter what manufacturer it is. Every single card that I have touched usually needs some type of, I don't know, help, I guess you can say, with using proper paste and proper application. So, what's your favorite GPU? Buried one. Do we even need to answer it? Like, do we really have to have that question? So my favorite card is basically the Kingpin card. So obviously you've seen me bench these for probably years now. But definitely my favorite cards of all time. Vince over at EVGA, aka Kingpin, does a wonderful job over there. Last time I did a full pot, I forgot my pin code. Screw with confidence. Any decent universal blocks out there? That is a great question, Ironclad. So, a lot of the times when I used to get Kingpin blocks, and I would do water overclocking first. So, like when I get the card, I want to install drivers, I want to do efficiency tests. I want to make sure that it's at top performance before I go liquid nitrogen. Because you want to get the card all worked out, all the bugs and stuff worked out, and just go right for the scores when you're doing overclocking and stuff. So, what was I going to say? I kind of forgot my whole train of thought. But yeah, so, yeah, well, Universal. There's a bunch of them I used. One of the ones that I liked was from SwiftTech days. They made it a nice block that goes over, but it's kind of useless now. That was basically on the old type of NVIDIA stuff. I haven't really found one, but I think that's going to make a good video, and then I'm going to have to do some research on that, because universal blocks are what makes the world go round. And that, to be honest, they're actually pretty badass for something like the Kingpin. Instead of getting a block and you want to kind of show off the PCB, because, I mean, come on. Look at the PCB on this. Well, we'll see the reference one in a bit, but it's not going to look like this, let me tell you. So, a lot of the times I want to just kind of show this off, so I'll just have a universal block here. And you still got to make sure the VRM's cooled. But it just kind of shows off and gives it more of an elegantness, if you know what I'm saying. So, put that there. Oh, Beard Hardware, do you remember the days of 3DFX? That was a long time ago. I don't want to tell my age here, you know. Never argue with Odin. Who's arguing, huh? First thing I did with my 960 back in the day and my 26 now is reapply higher grade thermal paste. I highly recommend it. I'm still working on that thermal paste video. That's going to be probably another couple of weeks because I'm slammed with work. But you're going to find some cool things. Basically what it comes down to is you want to replace with a good thermal paste. Right now my highest recommendation is Kingpin Cooling KPX. It's good stuff. Who doesn't? That's the guy. I have no idea what you're talking about. Am I streaming to Twitch too? No, I'm just streaming here. I want to save the Twitch thing for something a little bit different, but I think we'll do some different things on Twitch. I don't know. I got lots of plans. I've also been thinking about doing some type of vlog setup, but that's probably about a week or two out. I'm going to show you guys a little bit more into life. We do a little bit more than just computer stuff. I deal with a lot of like electric bikes, motorcycles, cars, trucks, boats, all sorts of things. Electric skateboards, drones, pretty much anything tech, I do. So, but I also like to overclock everything tech too. Golf carts, all sorts of stuff. So I think we need to go into a little bit more of just doing streams, if you know what I'm saying. So, would you like to review our gold 1080 Ti Kingpin? What are you talking about over there? Gold 1080 Ti Kingpin? So is it made out of gold? Because I'll take it, but you'll never get it back. Because gold prices right now are through the roof. It's a good investment. You know what I'm saying? I have a few Voodoos here. First time I played Half-Life Accelerated was with a Voodoo card. I can't believe, man. Those are some cool cards. Have I overclocked my wife? Alright, so enough playtime. Let's try to get some, I don't think I've even used his toolkit yet. You didn't hear that. But yeah, so one of the big things, it's so funny. These screws are so tiny, I swear they don't make it for people like me. I mean, really, look how that screw is so tiny. You can't even see it with my hand. That's why I stopped doing, like, any iPhone work or anything like that. Because I used to, like, replace screens and stuff. I ain't doing that. Ooh, we got a gold-plated heatsink. That seems pretty cool. I want mine. I don't think anything in tech is pretty much expensive, so... I mean, come on, look at the Titan Titan V, man. That card was $3 grand. $3,000. To be honest, I said I wouldn't buy it at first, and then I ended up buying it. Furry One actually knows, because I think I told him that. It's okay, wives do not watch this. You never know. I'll have to check my analytics. Actually, I think we have the wrong screwdriver here. Steve, you're killing me, bud. I need to channel my inner Steve right now. It's too tiny. I don't know. There's something about taking apart a graphic card that I just absolutely love. I've pretty much taken apart like every generation. Probably almost every generation. I think maybe just the super cards I haven't really touched, but they're not much different, so it's just a different GPU-wise. So I'm talking more PCB-wise than anything. Oh, the good old days. Actually, one of the cards that I think was pretty badass, too. This is one of my favorite series of cards, too. The 680 Classified. This is, EVGA came out with the 580 Classified, and the 680 Classified was like the next gen. It was like really badass, so I had to have one. This one, I think, could come apart. I don't know if I took the whole thing apart, but... no, there's a couple screws in there. But yeah, these were badass graphic cards. Then we also had MSI, which I'm kind of disappointed. Like, they're not in it anymore, really. Their graphic cards used to be amazing. This is, I think, I'm going to say a 680 Lightning. Yep. I remember MSI sent me this, and I never did anything with it. I was kind of disappointed. It wasn't that great of a card. It was kind of an average card, but still, MSI used to make some of the most badass cards there are. One of my favorite cards from them was the 5870 Lightning. I'll have to bring out some of my collection. I have a 5870 Lightning that would do over 1400. I think it was like 1440. I bet I can get more out of it now. Beast! Red Bull is overclocking fluid for humans. For sure. What is this? Only nerdy wives? I do not have one. She thinks all this is boring. She gets pissy if her computer is slow, though. It's always when it comes down to the computer being slow. So, hey, if you want to help your wife, just make sure her computer's good. Alright, let's try to get through this a little bit more. Because this is not even the fun part. This is just taking it apart. I'm curious to see how this paste is. Because they really... I don't know, Vince is probably going to get mad at me from EVGA. But EVGA, man... They had some issues there for a while. I would always tell Vince, and he's like, no way. So, whatever you do, basically the recommendation is take it apart, check your paste. Because I've seen a lot of people say, oh, we're going to return the GPU, it's not working. I've actually had GPUs where they have had no paste applied whatsoever. So, it looked like a bad GPU, but really there was just no paste, so it overheated. So, whatever you do, make sure you do it. I have 3 980 Ti classifieds. Those were great cards, man. I'm going to say I had 6 of them. I ended up finding like, oh man, I had one that was an ASIC, a 90 ASIC. I ended up killing a card, and EVGA basically sent me a replacement for the Kingpin. It was basically, they used to sell them in ASIC variants, so like if you had it over an 80, it was like a lot more expensive. So I had bought an over 80 one, and it just died. Like, I basically got it off someone who won it in some type of raffle or something, and it just died. But I basically got it and it was dead. So I basically sent it back to EVGA. They warranted me with this other one, and man, still to this day, I think it's one of the best graphic cards I ever had. It did, the 980 Ti basically did 2300, and it literally almost liquefied the VRM because it was pushing so much current. Like that card, those generations, the amount of power that they used compared to these generations was insane. Basically, absolutely insane. I think we were pushing like, I want to say around 1600 or something like that watts. Like, it was pretty phenomenal. The card ended up just like melting itself. I think it was insane. It was cool stuff. All of my GPUs on water and EK water blocks. I had 4 total. Yeah, really, if you're gonna have a graphic card, I don't know if you guys checked out the other stream, but I talk about it's pretty much almost. I feel that it's pointless to not. If you're gonna go with a card on air, you're just wasting having an awesome graphics card, because really, graphics card are basically, there's so much processing power in there. They generate so much heat that an air cooler really just does not cut it. So by doing a water block, you're really stepping up the game. You're going to be able to overclock it more. You're really going to be able to basically push it a little bit more. You're going to get higher frame rates. It's just going to run all around better. So I highly recommend to do it. If you're scared, don't be scared. TechODIN's here to help you through it. So let's finish this one up. We got a couple more of these tiny screws. It's funny, I can actually barely see them. That's how they sold a lot of 1000-watt plus CPUs. Isn't that the truth? Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I still remember a 980 Ti under liquid nitrogen doing, like, say, I want to say it was Firestrike or it was FSE, Firestrike Extreme. That was one of my favorite benches back then. And man, this thing, I still remember the coils and just how the power supply basically pushing 1600 watts, like full current rolling through. You could actually hear it. It was like it was just sucking it up. It was so amazing. I absolutely loved it. It's what my addiction to this is, basically. I love this stuff. And that rush is basically like taking a car going 200 miles an hour. You're like, yeah, it's gonna score. That's why I love it. Right on, man. I worship you now. Thanks for the 2 mouse pads you signed for me. Awesome, man. You got a bunch of them, huh? That's pretty cool. I always wonder about it, because, dude, we sign tons of those. But when I leave Gamers Nexus, my wrist is like killing me because I'm signing so much stuff. So I'm glad you like it. I hope it was a good one I sent you, too. You really want a magnetic parts ball for those screws. I know I have one, but I already have a bunch of parts in it, so to be honest, he's completely right. There's nothing worse than losing some of these screws. So having some type of parts screw tray is always good, but I'm kind of winging this one right now. The one I have actually has a bunch of stuff for my golf cart right now. We're souping that up. That's gonna be part of the vlog stuff, but yeah, totally agree with you. What do you think about the new power plug for the new 3000 GPUs? That's a really good question, because I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't really see that there's that much of a limitation in the old one. I basically think I'll have to look into it more. I think it's going to be a pain in the ass. Now you guys are basically going to have to buy the card, and if they're not supporting an adapter for our power supply is going to be on the hook for that, like vendors. I saw a couple pictures of different, like, in between, like, new cables that you have to run. I don't know. To be honest, it seems more of, do you really need it? Because it doesn't seem like, I mean, we pushed, like I was just saying, 1600 watts out of the standard stuff. So I don't know. I think it might be a little overkill. Don't really understand it. I'll just have to look at it more and get back to you on that question, really. Shared a preview of the Gold KB on GPU Skin Instagram. Awesome, man. I want to check that out. I remember you telling me something about that, but it's pretty badass. How to increase dedicated video RAM on a Dell Optiplex? I have no idea, dude. Pyro. Yes, I got my hair cut. No hippie hair. It's funny. Morgan Jennings, hi. Going to have go custom? You always go custom. That's what it's all about. All right. How to increase dedicated video RAM on a Dell Optiplex? I have no idea on a Dell Optiplex. A lot of the times when you guys are buying Dells, so we might as well go over this real quick before I get it back into the card. A lot of the times, if you buy any of those PCs from vendors like HP, Dell, IBM, Lenovo, you're not really getting much. You're getting basics, basically. Don't expect it to be able to overclock. You're not going to be able to do a lot of different things. So I highly recommend, if you're going to get a PC, look at something, say, for like EK. I know they make custom machines. Look at some vendors that are making custom. Support the vendors that are actually making one, or make one yourself. You're not really making it, but put it together yourself. Highly recommend it. It's rewarding. You can always take care of your own stuff. It's good to learn. Highly recommend always learning. So now this year at Christmas could be Asgard's version of Santa Claus. Not gonna lie, have the full suit. I like to mess around and do funny things. Just how I do. Dude, you're getting a Dell. I can't believe I didn't think about that. I should have, to be honest. I totally should have. Broski, do you think that 3090 and the MEM chips on the backside, think we see the PCB sandwich between the two blocks? I don't know. I haven't really checked out. People have been sending me pictures of the block. It looks like they separated basically into two heat zones. Like you have two different PCBs. I didn't see memory, so I really don't know. Good question, Toolis. I'm going to have to basically go through and kind of do some research. I'm excited about the card. When NVIDIA releases a card, it's always a monster. I'm also excited to see maybe if there's something from AMD. I don't know, with AMD on graphic card, it's kind of hard to like stay with the 5700 XT is kind of, we need something a little bit better than that, if you know what I'm saying. We need big Navi. Hey, Odin, haven't seen you for a while. Yes, I'm back. We're going to be doing this at least weekly, so I'm going to try to be doing that more. I want to get into some vlogs, do a little bit more than just streams and PC stuff, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you like and subscribe. Also, check out Patreon, because I've been a lot more active there lately. Plus, we do a bunch of cool stuff over there. If you need help building your PC, come and check it out. We got a good group over there now. I've been a little stagnant there, but I'm going to be in there all the time now. So, but anyway, I have to take a sanity break from my professor's pain in the ass work that's due tonight. A minute before midnight. Man, that sucks, but make sure you get your homework done. Alright, hope you haven't had a crash lately. I always have crashes. It's fun. RDNA 2 needs to come out to give NVIDIA a run for its damn money. Now, I completely agree on that. I mean, I don't know. I know Intel's coming out with a GPU. What's your guys' thoughts on that? Because I think that's going to be interesting. I'm not sure how good it's going to be, though, so I don't know. It's kind of interesting. There's so much stuff that's coming. You kind of wonder where Intel is on all this, right? More like a run for our money at this point. GPU prices are steep. Very, very, very true. But prices have been steep for a long time, and that's, I don't know, I kind of blame AMD for that, because NVIDIA's been able to take over pretty much. I was looking at their stock the other day. They just popped over 500 per share, which I think is kind of crazy. Alright, but anyways, let's get back to the GPU block. I think my Red Bull's kicking in a little bit now. I don't know if you guys can tell or not. Let's see, what are we going on here? Gotta go through all the tools. It's the first time I got to enjoy using Steve's tools. And that sounds really bad. It's sad that AMD's drivers are kind of bad on release dates. It's kind of sad that pretty much they're usually always bad. AMD's kind of, it's not kind of, has been notoriously bad on drivers for years. Now, one of my favorite, like, I used to bench AMD GPUs a lot back in the day. I'm talking 5870s, 290Xs. Those are pretty much the two main AMD cards that I pretty much overclocked all the time. Was doing dual card stuff, single card stuff, four-way stuff. What do you guys think about that? I mean, maybe if you had Big Navi and you did Crossfire with 4 cards. I really miss those days of having, like, popping in 4 cards and just going balls to the wall. Oh, in my opinion, Intel GPU is going to be competitive with AMD for the next consoles. That's a good point. I don't think Intel is going to be beating NVIDIA anytime soon. I feel like they will probably be comparative to AMD. I think be close to AMD. I mean, it would be nice to see them close. I really am curious about AMD's new architecture. I mean, Ryzen has been a blessing in disguise for them. Even if you look at their stocks went up to almost $90. They were hovering 40 to 50 pretty much beginning of the year. So, and it's crazy too, when Intel basically released all the notes of how they're behind and all that, dude, their stock tanked and AMD went up like $30. I don't know if you guys are into trading. I trade sometimes, so it's good to see how these companies are actually doing. I mean, Intel's not going anywhere. They're just not going to have as much revenue in that one area. But they have their hands in a lot of different stuff, so I don't think we should worry about that. Steve's Tools, balls to the wall. They messed up Radeon 7 drivers just recently. They always mess up the drivers. I'm trying to remember there's a time when AMD didn't mess up their drivers. I mean, NVIDIA's was actually really good there for a couple years, and then they've kind of got a little Still not as bad as AMD, but still some weird issues and stuff. Only if AMD came back up with their stuff with proper software. Well, they need some proper hardware first. 5700 XT is a nice card and all, but compared to, like, I don't know, I'm very interested to see NVIDIA's new cards and just see how powerful they are. Because I almost guarantee that NVIDIA has a little something else in there. I have a feeling like if NVIDIA releases something, they'll do like a driver update. So say NVIDIA releases something and then AMD Big Navi comes out and they come up with like a comparable score. I have a feeling like NVIDIA is going to basically put out a driver update and then eternally smash AMD. That's kind of what they've done over the years, and from testing pretty much every card, every release, and going through and checking each card and stuff like that, it happens more than you think. You guys don't really realize it. Well, it depends on, some of you will, if you keep testing and checking out stuff. You'll see. It's kind of crazy and fascinating at the same time. But try the AMD memory tweaker to get the most out of their cards. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I know for especially mining and stuff, the AMD cards, I have a lot of AMD cards. I have a bunch of 580s, 470s, 570s. I was doing a lot of mining and stuff with them. Using like they're very good for computation. It's just, they lag behind NVIDIA for pretty much everything now. The computation wasn't that far behind not too long ago. I'm running an Asus Vegas 64 Strix. How do you like that card? That's an interesting card. I have a 2080 for the win. Great card, but Precision X1 sucks. That's another problem. Precision has been an issue over the years. I always end up having some banging my head against the damn ground, especially because if you notice with the Kingpin, usually you're using Precision. So, yeah, that's one that's caused me a lot of grief. What is that? That's plausible. Shipping the 3,000 cards with lower clocks just in case. Try Afterburner. So, I don't know anymore. If you look at Afterburner, it's funny. It's got to be a couple of years now. but a couple years ago I was looking at it, I was like, oh, I need to download Afterburner. And I go and look on MSI's site, and guess whose picture is on there? This guy. Which I thought was really funny because it's like, I bench EVGA all the time. Break records and stuff like that, and here I am right on the Afterburner page, download page. Pretty funny, really cool at the same time. It's because of one of the MSI contests I was in, and they just happened to have me right by the download. But yeah, Afterburner is really good. Never really had an issue with it. Sometimes there's extra features in Precision that helps out. There's like stuff like, what do you want to call that? Where it locks the clocks higher on, can't remember the name of it. But yeah, my recommendation, usually I always try all the tools, and some are more buggy than others. Even sometimes Afterburner can be like the bad one out of the bunch. So you need to always kind of check with multiple versions. If the one Afterburner one you're using sucks, then just basically try a different version, and you'd be surprised what happens. So, but anyway, we gotta go back to this card, get this thing going. You'll see that I took pretty much every screw out on the side, and that's kind of usual. One of the things though is when you have to pull this thing off, like, it's not coming off, right? So what happens is there's a couple screws at the top, so we basically took off all the screws back here. Now what we want to do is take the screws off here, because it's actually attached. This is attached to here, and this part is attached to there. So you want to make sure that you're taking everything off. Remember, you want to keep it separated from the other ones. You don't want to mix up the screws. Put that one there. Afterburner won't let you set the fans properly. That's what it was. But the boost is what I was thinking of. Not boost. What the hell is it? Yeah, OSD is the pain in the ass. Usually a lot of the times OSD causes more issues than it's worth, but on the newer versions, they usually fix it, but you usually have to play around, install one version, uninstall it, check out a new version. I don't mind doing it. It's not really that bad of a whole deal. If you want to get more accurate, like fan settings and stuff, but like I said again, like, you should be going water cooling. If you have a card and you want to play with it and make sure like different settings are good and stuff like that, like, you might as well do water cooling. Do a whole block like this where it basically does mem, or you could do a universal block. I'm gonna have to go around and check out some of the universal blocks, because there's only a certain couple that would actually work decently. So you see how I undid those front ones, and look, the card's pretty much ready to take apart. And oh, that paste is terrible. See, this is why we do stuff like that. So a lot of the times you'll see that there's basically two cables. Pretty easy. Just pop them out. There's one. A lot of times they're just for fans. Sometimes it will also for lighting up like the G-force on top. It's using just power right here. I think it's like 3.3 or something like that. But yeah, so there's the block. Now these things are kind of garbage. I'm not a real big fan of the reference coolers. They're kind of junk. Not kind of, but they really are junk. I mean, oof, look at that paste job. That paste job's terrible. Looks like a factory job. Maybe even worse than a factory job. So what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna have to clean that paste off. Let me get some paper towels real quick. Oh, so you on YouTube live streams or client side can... I'm so tempted to put a 1070 SC2 on a block and then try and flash a higher power limit TD device. But I'd rather not brick the card. So a little secret. You can probably flash that. As long as you have another graphics card. A lot of the times, to be honest, I've flashed BIOSes on like all the different cards. Done it many times. I've showed other people how to do it. But it's not for the faint of heart. Like, usually you need the card pretty much down to the PCB. I'm usually soldering connections to see what the voltages are. Usually you want to check GPU power. So usually we get on the back right here and basically solder a connection there. Then we usually get memory power. So we want to see how much power is running on memory. Because a lot of the times when you put a BIOS, basically the software that interfaces might be throwing something off. So a lot of the times what I'll do is when I do install a new BIOS, before I do the new BIOS, the regular one, I'll go through and I'll check all the voltages, make sure those voltages are good, get an idea like a base, and then what I'll do is I'll flash the BIOS, and then I'll check all those voltages. And a lot of the times, if a controller is not compatible with a BIOS, it might do under or it could do over voltage, but you won't be able to see unless you have those soldered connections. So when you do that, you can basically, if a lot of the times it just won't start, or you'll have to do like a volt mod to maybe get the controller to work properly. But yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, but it is definitely done. Maybe we'll have to do a stream just on that. We'll find a card and I'll show you guys it. But yeah, so we got the card down for the bare PCB. We now need paper towels, which I don't know if I have. Let me check real quick. Nope, I'll be right back. I just gotta get some paper towels because we gotta clean that puppy up. All right. Oh, so the other thing is so even if you don't have a BIOS switch, if you flash a BIOS to a card and it bricks it, you can still get it back as long as you have another graphic card that works. Because what you can do is you have both cards put in, and you basically then are able to get back in, and then you can actually re-flash it again. Because technically it's not bricked. It's just basically in an error state. So it says Newegg warranty department is sweating furiously. Probably. Remember, any of this stuff you do, you kill your warranty. But highly recommend to try it and do it for yourself. But it's not going to be on Newegg's cost. So always remember that. Now, let's go over something here. So whenever you want to clean the existing stuff off, I highly recommend using something like this. This is CRC spray. This is QD electronic cleaner. Now, CRC is just the company. They make a lot of different sprays. You need the QD electronic cleaner, red can, not the blue can, if everybody remembers the Steve incident, when the 3900X flew off and basically got broke. So, interesting. But yeah, so this stuff is awesome. Like if you ever get paste in the socket, you want to clean, just spray the hell out of it because it actually evaporates over time. So I don't know if you guys can see this that well, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically take the towel and wrap it around. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spray it. And you'll notice as soon as I spray it, it's basically just taking all the paste off. So you really don't even need to do much. So it's nice to clean the PCB off. This stuff evaporates pretty easily. This is old paste, so we might have to scrub a little bit around the side to get up the caked areas. So just basically remember blue paper towels, they're a lot thicker. They're like the brawny of paper towels, like even better than brawny. You guys, they don't break up, they don't like cause a bunch of particles to get in. Like, they're not like regular paper towels. They're beastly. They're basically shop towels. But they're great for this. Looks like we need to do some more sprays. But yeah, see, this was definitely a factory paste job because it's absolutely garbage. But yeah, so a lot of the times when you're doing this, I mean, just this alone. So if I were to put that cooler back on and just with this paste, I would see like a huge gain in performance. Because you got to understand that GPU boost is going to evaluate your temperatures. So if your temperatures are really crap, you're not going to be getting higher clocks. So even your boost clocks are basically going to go down. So you always want to make sure that your components are cool. Because the more they're cool, the more you're going to be able to get out of them and the better performance you're going to get. Alright, so look at that, all clean. All pretty. They're like the brawny of paper towels. You gotta love it. Yeah, you guys are getting crazy with this, the movement. But yeah, so we got that. So the next part is, I want to clean this up because this thing is like, so that whenever they, I don't know. I'm not really big on nickel plating. I mean, it does look good, but it does, if you have copper oxidizes pretty well. But I just love the look of copper over nickel. It's just, I don't know, it's just something about it. Well, you want to clean that up a bit. Because you're going to see, like, if you look on this card, you'll see you have memory, 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 and then VRM, right? So if you look and match it up here, so basically the card's going to come and go like this. So we want to make sure, so I don't really know, like this card is really not built for this block, or the block is not really built for the card. So we're going to have to check things out to make sure it's not going to kill anything. Oh shoot, I just used brake clean. So just as a warning, CRC makes brake clean. Do not use that on a PC. It will melt the PCB. So it's highly recommended that you don't do that. Let me get this a little bit cleaner here. We got some. It's always nice too after this, because this stuff evaporates, but sometimes you'll have a little bit of a residue. You want to get really a high percentage of alcohol, like 95%. I don't know where I put mine, but if you do that and rub it over, works pretty nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically test to see how the mounting is on this to make sure it actually even works. Because I'm pretty sure this card is really not supported. But since it's a reference, it might actually just work. So I'm going to see if all the holes line up. And it's looking really good, actually. So I think we're going to be lucky with this one. So it looks like the 1070 is a lot like the 1080 Ti as far as reference-wise. And if you look at that, it pretty much looks like one. So I wonder if let me see if I have one. I might actually have a 1080 Ti. Well, and I do have a 1080 Ti. So this was a fun project that I did. Taking the Corsair. So this Corsair cooler was not for a 1080 Ti. I think it was for a 980 Ti. I modded it so that it would fit a 1080 Ti. And to be honest, this thing actually works really, really well. I was actually really surprised. It's really dirty and nasty. But yeah, you can tell it's pretty close as far as the looks of everything. So I'm pretty sure that this block is definitely going to work. So let's see, let's go into their blocks. One of the things that I've always learned, or that I've learned over the years, that you always have to do is, if you don't know what's going on, like, just read the directions. There's a lot of people out there that just don't like directions. I always end up reading them anyways, just to see, because there's always something maybe that you didn't think about that you can get. So remember, step one is always read the directions. So let's go into this. Now, I really kind of dig this card. This is my first block that I've had with Fantex, so I can't really say too much about it other than so far it looks nice. They included paste. I'm not sure. We might have to throw this into the paste roundup. We're not going to use that. We're going to use Kingpin coolant. That's the stuff. There's just no reason to use anything else right now. I'll go over more reasons in the future on that reason. But it looks like they included a couple other things. It looks like maybe an RGB strip for the RGBs on there. And we have a NVIDIA. I'm not even sure what it is. But where is the... Oh, there we go. This is what I was looking for. So you can't just put a bare block on there. Obviously, we need thermal pads. We need a bunch of stuff in there. So I was wondering where it was, and it looks like I found it. So here's the directions, screws. We're not using the paste. We will use these, though. Now, I'll go over that in a second of kind of what to do. Let's move this over here. All right, let's see. So let's see what we have in the bag that's from Fantex, right? So Oh, that's pretty cool. Give you a screwdriver. I like that. It's little things like this that make me support certain products where they include certain things. So basically, what they did is they include one of the most pain in the ass things that NVIDIA does. And these types of screws, they actually gave you a toolkit for it. So, good job, Fantex. That's something cool that I actually like. So, you guys get some props for that. All right. What else we got here? TechODIN. What about... You know, I've heard all this stuff about Microsoft Flight Simulator. Dude, I need to... I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I need to download that. Maybe we'll do something on Twitch or something. Where we put that up. Me trying to fly a plane. Might be a little scary. Might run into a lot of stuff. But that's the fun of it, right? So... But it looks like... So they included a couple pads. It looks like they have memory ones. Color-coded. I think that's a first I've seen. One thing I like is directions. If a company has directions, you know what, you can do stuff right away and not have worry about it. I've had sometimes by installing blocks where the directions were not good, and I've actually killed cards because of it. So it's very important to me that vendors make sure that they do proper directions, especially something like a GPU block, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong really quickly. So let's go over their directions. You see, they actually have a nice laid out. It's not like cheap paper or anything. It's pretty good, actually. I'm kind of surprised because not many vendors do this. It says they have tutorials. They probably do, but I'm not going to look at them because I'm TechODIN. Yeah, so they basically tell you... It's interesting. I do like the way they say to apply thermal compound. Highly recommend. They basically do, I do an X, so they're doing kind of like a hex. To be honest, mine's probably still better, but I do recommend that they do that. That's good. But really what I want to see is like, how do I apply, which screws need to go where. That's pretty much the thing. But it looks like everything is color-coded, so it should be pretty easy to set up. So, can you see the Rolls-Royce engines on a 747? Of course. Alright, hey, let's see. I love the directions. I'm working on a book right now for the fiction section. It's going to all the spec sheets for individual components of the parts used to make stuff in Star Trek. Damn, that sounds cool. What is this guy doing? Sorry, dude. You're not going to talk crap about my people. You're in timeout. Yeah, I read directions. I always read directions. To be honest, reading directions, you'd be surprised what you find, man. Never knock directions, because directions will save your ass. Ooh. Alright, so let's see what we got here. We're going to follow their directions. This is one thing I don't like. So, I've seen a lot of times where you have these... Well, I guess it's not so much for these. They're not doing... I thought they were doing something different. I've seen where they have spacers, and when you install a CPU block, it's hard to figure out which spacer is what. And sometimes you can have too much gap in between, and if the block is not going directly on the chip itself, it can overheat and cause damage. So you want to be very careful. But yeah, let's see. Alright. I think we need some paste too. Let me see where I have over here. I think we have an old tube of KP here we're just going to put on. Let's see, can you guys see decently over here? So, I'm just going to do an X like this. 1, 2. Actually, we'll wait 1 second while I'll put the thermal pads on first. I think that's probably a better thing to do. We try to get an idea of what they want. Because a lot of the times, you have these. I want to know where to put them on because I don't want to create any issues. So... This is the one thing that shows my age. I can't see anything. Make the directions bigger. Ah, the RGB setup is actually not that bad. Basically, they all plug into the bottom of the block. See? See what happens when you read the directions? I'm trying to see how they want. Interesting. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll start putting on. They have it listed in like purple, so this is going to be the VRM. Well, since this is only basically a what is this? 7? Oh, 1070. I don't know. I was thinking like 790 or 780 for some reason. All right. So since we don't have the basically on this card, since it's just a 1070, there's basically the VRM's not that beefy. So this is one of the things with a reference card. So here, this is a good way to show it. So reference card, KP. Any questions? You'll see that there's a massive difference in quality and everything. You'll see that stuff's even missing here. Do you see how they're basically, all the chips are taken off? So usually what NVIDIA does is they test on their big card, strip it down, and then put smaller chips on because they don't need the power. So what we need to do is basically we need to cover this whole area. I'm just going to cover the whole area. That way it also reduces some type of metal. One of the things you want to be careful when doing a GPU block is making sure you're not shorting anything. And by shorting anything, I mean basically having metal touch a bad area and touch another area. Like you don't want to basically cause a short. It will kill your card. So you kind of, I would use as much as this as you can. So what we're going to do, actually I'll take this over here. I don't want to scratch up the nickel. So what I'm going to do is, instead of, like what I said before, I don't know if you guys could see, but really you'd only need this much. I could cut that part, but I'm just going to put the whole thing there. Just that way it's all covered, and to be honest, we might get a little bit more cooling on the PCB. Cooling off the PCB is always beneficial. What is going on here? How come I'm not updating? YouTube, you're killing me. Wow, that's strange. So I didn't even see any of your messages. That's kind of funny. So I don't know what you guys were saying. Well, yeah. Alright. One thing I have a problem with a lot of these thermal pads is trying to get the damn things off. My hands are huge for this. And of course I cut my nails too, so trying to get these things. I definitely chose the wrong time to cut my nails. Because usually it's pretty easy to stick your nail in there and try to get that one off. So what you want to do is basically peel off the wrappers on each side. There's usually always 2. Make sure you get both, because this will actually cause some cooling issues. So you want to make sure that you do it properly. And I'm going to go crazy with this because it's taking forever. Oh, I think we got it. Yeah, it's like when you get a new CPU block. Make sure you take off the wrappers. And we're not talking about like Snoop Dogg wrappers. Alright, so we took the 2 sides. Now we're just going to basically put it on the card. I always put it on the card. I'm not going to put it on the block. It's pretty self-explanatory, really. So we're going to cover it all there. Remember, I want to protect from shorts. So what's going to happen is this block is going to go on there. You see, right here. And everything seems to be pretty good, actually. Hold on. Yep, perfect. So it definitely supports the 1070, which is a good thing, because that would have sucked. For memory IC, so we're going to use the blue. Oh, come on. Did they double wrap these? They did. It's funny, they cut them up, but this is the stuff I hate doing. How much should I worry about bridging with a card block combo that fit? I don't even know what that means. Bender, rephrase that, please. Slacking on joke quality. I could definitely be your dad. Should I hire my services? Alright, so what you're going to do with these blue pads... Oh, is going to stick it on each memory chip. So you see, obviously, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Usually with the bigger cards, they're going to have more memory chips. Sometimes they have them on the back. It all depends on the model of card you have. Now, this is just a 1070, so this is what you get. Oh, man, this is a pain. Oh, I think I got it. I think I spend the most time doing this stuff. Trying to make sure that I get every little piece. Seems like it's sticker on that end. And what you want to do is you got to make sure that the pad is properly put on, because you got to figure what this is doing. So this is basically this is individually cooling each memory module. Now, if you don't install this properly, you could overheat your memory. I mean, you can run memory chips without a cooler, but you'll get a lot more overclocking and better heat thermals if you have some type of cooler on them. That's why I pretty much, instead of using a universal block, it's usually really good to use like an all-in-one block. So, because a lot of the times you're not going to be cooling memory. So if you're going to try a universal block, you always want to make sure that you're cooling memory somehow. So that depends if you have a cold plate or something. You can always make something, which is kind of cool too. I've done that over the years. You guys are funny. There we go. Oh, you don't have my hand, so you can't tell me how to do it. I'm just kidding, of course. To be honest, with these big sausage fingers, man, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Alright, so we're there, we're getting there. We got like 4 more to go. This is the boring stuff that you gotta do and you gotta go through, but if I was doing video, I'd probably make it quick. But what are you doing? You're here having fun time with me, just chilling out. Alright, listen to some metal, hanging out. Better heat thermals. 2020. No, and still, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about some crazy storm in 77? Let me guess, you used to walk 5 miles to school. I don't know if anybody knows those funny jokes. Those are, yeah, they're bad jokes, really. But it's all having fun. Glue on heat sinks. Can I vote for that? Wish my girls were nerds. I know, I gotta teach my daughters too how to do computers. Need more women in the field, man. There's not enough. Come on. Oh, so close. I think I spend more time doing this than I actually end up spending overclocking. Put it together. I mean, this is really where you want to make sure you take care of the details. You don't want to rush this. You want to make sure you do it nice and slow. Just kind of get it all together. Make sure you're not messing up anything. You want to basically make sure you get it done right. Old men rumbling. Alright, let's see. Almost there. This is the last one. Yes, got it. Alright. Boy, well, that was a pain. So you'll have a couple left over because this is a 1070 and not a 1080 Ti. So, oh, let's see. Where else did they want it? So, interesting. Just want to make sure I line up. So it looks like we also have another one right here. So this is the yellow. So this is basically going to be right here. So you'll see where the chokes are. And then right there. So we're going to have to basically cover this I'm just going to run it all the way up and just cut it. Remember, you don't have to go skimpy on it. You know what? I'm just going to put it on like that. It's not going to hurt it if you put it there. The more surface area, the better. I do hate taking these off. I need to hire somebody just to do this. Because it's driving me nuts. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we got that one now. Doesn't stick to my fingers. Ah! I know you guys probably can't see. I couldn't get my other camera working for some reason. I think the cable went bad. The life of a streamer. It usually never works when you want to go on stream. Just how... That's just the life. Still waiting to see your cars, OG. Whoa! So... Yeah, we might as well talk about that real quick. So... We got some stuff coming up on the cars. So... I'm waiting for some parts to come in. And we're going to end up doing the Viper project finally. It's taken forever. And the main goal is to get it back up to speed. The car hasn't ran in like 8... I don't know. I don't want to tell too much of the story because obviously it's going to kill the video. I had a bunch of video for it when I lost it on the hard drive. So I'm going to end up having to redo all of it again. But yeah, so I got parts coming and we're going to be doing some stuff with there. So that's mostly likely going to be in the vlog videos. I really want to take that and kind of just run with it. Maybe do like at least one a week kind of go through. So, but yeah, that's going to be part of it and you're definitely going to see something with it. All right. Back to the real world, right? So let me finish some of this Red Bull. Oh. I need to like find an overclock button for me. I don't know what, YouTube is like killing me right now. I can't see you guys on one side and then I can see you guys on the other. What's up with that? Alright, so anyway, looking at getting the new Ford Bronco. I like the new Bronco. To be honest, that's actually one of my favorite vehicles. I've always liked the Chevy Blazers, the Ford Broncos from the 90s. Those were awesome. I always wanted a 90s Ford Bronco, or even in the 70s, the 80s were still cool. Trying to find one that's not beat up now, that would be a hell of a project. I would totally do that. Oh man, yeah, we need to jump up on the likes, guys. Come on, we gotta make sure. Hey, the more you guys like these streams, the more we can do the streams. So you gotta make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends about it, come in and join and have fun, go talk smack with us. Let's do a bunch of stuff. Remember, we're gonna be doing these all the time now, so make sure you subscribe and that way you don't miss it, you know? Because it's gonna be a lot of fun stuff we're going through. We're gonna be going through tech stuff, tech talk. You'll see some of my vlog videos coming. We're gonna be just doing stuff with cars, golf carts, electric skateboards, drones, pretty much anything that's tech. Well, hell, I'll do phones, all that stuff. It's all sorts of fun. So make sure you like and subscribe so that happens. Because if you're going to miss it, you're going to be disappointed because you didn't see it. So, warning you now, if you don't want to do it, hey, that's up to you. But I'm just saying. So it looks like they gave us extras. So I'm not sure. I guess the 1080 Ti has a bunch of, maybe it's for Titan. Because a lot of the times the 1080 Ti is usually like a stripped down version. So. Let's see. So where are we at now? So I think we're pretty close. We got basically, if you look here, we got, ooh, I was wondering where that little one went. So if you look right here, we basically have thermal pads on each chip, right? And then we basically have the VRM covered here too. So now when I put the block on, well, obviously we're gonna put paste on it first. You don't want to do that. Trust me, I've done that before too. It's kind of funny. So what I usually do is I usually use an X. Now, people might say, well, why not use a dot or whatever? I've tested all of them. I've probably mounted GPU blocks and CPU blocks 1,000 times more than most people. Because just every single day, we would always basically do this. And I've tested them different ways and through trial and error, pretty much. I've went through and kind of, it's almost like an art to study on how much you do. But I've come to find out that that's one of the best ways to do it on a GPU. So what it does is when you actually put the plate down, it actually has room to cause the air to come out, and it actually suctions onto the chip. And you'd be surprised how well it works. Oh, phone, drone, nice. See what tech rises to tech fell? Hella. I love you guys. You guys are great. All right, so let's do this. So we're gonna end up, let's put the, line up the blocks. Let's see. I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna come down here real quick and make sure it lines up beautifully. Because a lot of the times when you apply paste, you don't want to keep on taking it apart and putting it together. When you do that, you're ruining basically how the paste can be. So if I take this apart right now, or if I moved it around, that's going to affect how the paste is applied. So you want to keep that and make it, not pull it off again. All right. So we put the block on, but I haven't screwed it down. So you want to basically take it over to the side, make sure all the holes are lined up. I'm just going to put it on the side to hang off the table because the one side's a little bit bigger than the block. And what this will do is it will give you a little bit of room so that way you can start placing screws in. Now I'm just going to move it all around. And I want to make sure that all the holes line up. Remember, I don't want to affect the paste application. You want to try to keep it as good as possible. So just moving it around a little bit, it's not going to affect it greatly. So all the screws are lined up. I want to check to see if there's any shorts or any bad connections anywhere. You'd be surprised on some when you put them together. Everything looks pretty good. I'm not seeing any issues. Hi. So what we're going to do is end up putting it back together. Now they have a bunch of screws here. Now this is a little bit confusing. So it wants to use a combination. This is where I feel like they're lacking a little bit. Yeah, they tell you to take off all the screws. Yeah, it looks like you just reuse the screws. I'm not sure what all these other ones are for, though. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything from the top. It looks like they have all the screws in there, so it's not anything that's going to be there. Now, I wonder, a lot of the times, I don't want to keep it like this. I want to actually have the backplate on. Backplates actually help to cool the PC down a little bit. So, we should be able to reuse it. Alright, so what we're going to do, I think we can just use the hex screws. Let me just double check and make sure. I'm trying to understand, though, why they included so many screws. Ah, I see. So what they want you to do is basically use the hexagonal screws. So we already have something for that. Let me use the Gamers Nexus one because it's much higher quality than the one the other ones gave you. One of the things, I can't stand these screws. They're annoying. Before there was toolkits for it, it was always very difficult to try to find something to screw these in. So I've had I basically had to make a bunch of tools to try to do it, because if you don't have a tool, you don't want to try to wait a week to get it done just because you don't have a tool. So make a tool, rig it up. This is cool, everyday water cooling shit. Yes, we're using the back plate. So what I'm gonna do is basically get some basic screws in there so that way I can maneuver it around and show you guys a little bit. Put in a couple of the screws so that way we don't get any movement and mess up the paste. Remember, keeping the paste in that area is gonna be beneficial. Oh, that's kind of annoying. My hands aren't made for this. Electronic engineer, can't design many things, DIY or construction, I'm a liability. Mountain Goat Yeti. Poor dude. One of the things you gotta be careful too is you do not want to over tighten these. Just try to do it so it's kind of figure tight. You don't want to be barreling down. You don't want to damage a PCB because you can crack things internally. And that's a big no-no. You don't want to do that stuff because that's going to end up killing your card and then you're just going to have a bad day. And that sucks. Nobody wants to have a bad day like that. Where do the washers go? That's a good question. I want to see where the... That's a good question, because I saw a bunch of washers there. We're going to have to use the thing, because I can't see. So hold on one second. This is why you got stuff like this. No, it doesn't really tell you, which is interesting. Like I said, the directions, these manufacturers could be better. You should tell them the inventions. Actually, I wear contacts. My eyes suck, and when I'm getting older now, it's from being on a computer all the time. It's really what it is. But yeah, I guess I don't really see a need for them to be on there. These are all groundings, so it shouldn't be a problem. My question is, though, why do we have a bunch of these screws? So do we have to put these in instead of using the other ones? I don't know. I'm not sure I like that. Ah, I think I know what it is. So I guess you use these screws instead of using the back screws. But what the hell is the point of that? You just use these. And then use the back plate. Back plate. It's funny. So, yeah, I don't know why they're doing that way. I like it doing this way. To be honest, I'd rather use the stock stuff because a lot of the times I always say if I want to sell it, no, just a monocle, huh? You guys crack me up. Alright. So if you're new to the stream, make sure you like and subscribe. We got a lot of stuff coming on. We're doing weekly streams now with Newegg Now. Big shout out to Newegg. Thanks for sponsoring the streams and getting everything going. We're going to be coming up with new stuff every week. Watercooling. I do a lot of liquid nitrogen stuff too if you're into the hardcore stuff. We're not doing that as part of the Newegg stuff. We'll do that on my own channel, but still fun to see. If you're down with that, you like that cool stuff, you like souping up parts, you like souping up tech stuff. Basically, that's what I do. I take tech stuff and then I soup it up. Just what it is. Golf carts, we take electric skateboards, drones. We always doing something, so make sure you like and subscribe. I see you guys are slacking on likes. I only got a 99 likes. There's 200 people on it and we only have 99 likes? Come on, slackers, bring it on. Looks like I'm not the one slacking this time. Dr. Bearded Hardware. Doctor. Alright, so we're getting this going. And I think with the backplate, it's going to look good. The one thing I probably should mention, so I don't know if you guys are new to, there's a lot of other companies out there. So one of my buddies, he owns V1 Tech. He makes some really cool stuff. They do, those are the guys that are basically making all the cool backplates that light up. They're like, you can make your own backplate. You can have a bunch of names on it. We'll see if my buddy's watching this, because that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get probably my logo put on here so it lights up. But let's see if he actually knows about it and watch the stream, and we'll see, because I love throwing some tests out there because he's getting a badass PC. So let's see if we can mess with him a little bit, see what's up. Yeah, the 2021 thermal paste roundup, Joseph. That's pretty awesome. All right, let's see. So we're getting there. Now we can pick it up because we have a lot of screws in there already. So let's put some fingerprints on it. Oh, I hate these screws. Remember, don't over-tighten. Over-tightening is bad. It doesn't have any middle ones. Alright, let's see. We got 1, 2. That one we don't really need one. This one's just a little off. We don't need to fill up every one of them. And nobody's going to notice. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this puppies back on. Actually, before we do that, we might as well actually put the, make sure I find the right screwdriver, but, so these are the main ones you reuse. So basically, they're the ones that come off the GPU block itself. These are the most important ones, because this is going to make the paste basically suck onto the card. Let's see. Now usually, remember, hand tight, you don't need to go crazy with it. Now I can put these on because obviously they're spacer holes, so you can just pop it in there. So, what you want to do basically, you go like this, and then like this. Or you can go up to start off the top left if you want to. If you ever change the car tire, it's basically kind of the same theory. You basically want to try to have an even spread. What are your thoughts about AR's bearded? I don't even know what that means, Eric. Wendell needs to go big with his beard. Wendell needs a beard. I agree. I think everybody needs a beard. Beards make people better. It's just what it is. Alright, so let's see if we can snag this backplate on, because we'll use this until we get the other backplate. Plus, I want to see if my buddy actually pays attention to the stream, because it's so fun to mess with people. If you guys haven't figured it out, I like to joke around. I like to mess with people. It's just what I do. Trust me, my woman always gets sick of it all the time, but it's so much fun. If you're not going to have fun at what you're doing, you might as well not do it, because that's kind of my theory on life. If you're not having fun, you might as well not do it. Because everything should be fun. Augmented reality, huh? Interested to get a viewpoint from a Floridian. I don't understand what you're talking about. What are your thoughts about AR's bearded? What the hell does that mean? I've noticed Linus is growing a beard. Now I see the influencer. Yes, it's all my fault. So Linus has a beard because of me. Actually, I don't know. I don't really talk about him. What about ARs? Assault rifles. We're not going political on this stream. But yes, I have guns too. Oh, where are we going here? I think it looks way better stock like this than in doing what they wanted you to do. They basically wanted you to put these little plates on, back with these screws. And to be honest, this looks way better in my opinion. So, this is the way we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it the bearded hardware way. That's the best way. It's always the bearded way. Linus J. Well, we have a little funny thing here. So, facial overclocking is bearded hardware, right? So, Linus is... So, I have a thing called baby beard. So, when you have a little beard and you're just trying to grow it, we call that baby beard. And in my opinion, Linus is good. Linus is a baby beard. What's going on here? Can't get it in. I hate these tiny little screws. Oh, that would help why. Let's do it the right way. I always hate how they do backplates sometimes. I forgot the 1070 is supposed to be the opposite direction, so my bad. Can't tell you that in directions, huh? I like that though, facial lint. That's kind of funny. See, we need to try to get Steve over at Gamers Nexus to grow a beard too. But he's already got the hair. He's got the locks. Alright, so we're almost done putting the block on. I know it's not following the directions, but technically, this block doesn't support a 1070, so I can do whatever the hell I want. No, but really, just make sure you take your time. Don't rush. Usually when you're when you're rushing, that's when bad things happen. And you spend a lot of money on this PC, so you don't want to basically just kill it and wait, because there's a lot of waiting involved for shipping parts, especially right now. Shipping parts takes forever. So, like, if you're going to kill something, that's a bad day. Trust me, I've had it happen. When you're doing stuff that I do, I mod everything, man. I literally mod everything. Even my girls. Oh, not that one. Alright. I think we have one more left here. And we might have to put the front ones back in, but... We had these ones. Actually, I think it was this one. We want to make this try to look as stock as possible. Oh. What we'll do is we'll basically... I always make, like, I love the detail with things, so I try to make everything look, like, sleek as possible. That's kind of my thing. I don't like making it too gaudy. That's why I like RGB. I like to have some RGB, but not, like, crazy, you know? Yes, you get it, Joseph. Mod the world. I should be president. Alright, so we're going to end up putting this... Actually, I forgot to That's what sucks having big hands. Like I said, this is why I don't do iPhones anymore. Ugh. There we go. Technical difficulties. I have no RGB, just to be. I see what you did there. Right. I think it would look cool if we did a little screw here. I don't know. It's always the details. Always pay attention to details, because that's what makes things happen. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the RGB rainbow. I just think it looks ugly. And like every manufacturer defaults to it. I actually had a, it's kind of funny, I actually had a, I was trying to gauge some of the manufacturers. I'm like, why do you guys always do that? Like, why don't you do like manly RGB, you know? Why is it always like pink and like, I don't know, I just feel like it's kind of a turnoff for most guys that are doing in this industry, that you would think that it would be a little bit better, but who knows, man. It is what it is. So, look at that. So now we have, it looks so pretty. Not too bad. Kind of impressed, actually. All we have to do is hook up the RGB. I'm not going to go through that right now. But yeah. It looks good. The backplate looks good. To be honest, I like it better with the backplate, because on the reference cars, they usually don't look that great from behind. Kind of weird, but yeah. So RGB software, are we going to talk about it? We are not talking about that, because that will open up a whole can of worms. Because that's a whole different thing. A lot of RGB software is just, ugh. Garbage. But we also have to clean up, too. I'm notoriously cluttery, if you haven't noticed. Basically, I always gotta try to clean up during or after, otherwise it will never get done. And then stuff gets all over the place. So I always like to have some type of clean working environment. Try. It's a little difficult. Says the man with the RGB build mat. What are you talking about? This is a table. The whole table is RGB. I can't not use it. Plus, this table gets to move up and down. To be honest, I actually love this. So just going up. See? Now that's cool. And plus, it saves my back because I'm getting old. I need to get out more and get some exercise on my boat. Actually, I need a new boat. So what we're going to do, what I like to usually do is like any extra screws, just throw them in here, because you never know when you have to maybe go back to the old one. A lot of times I don't, but you never know when you can. And you never know when you're going to need a screw like this. To be honest, you'd be surprised. And then this is just trash. So trash. That's other stuff, so keep that in a pile. Now you'll notice that they give us 2 plugs, right? If you look at the card, you have in, out, right? Well, you're going to want to plug 2 sides, otherwise you're going to have a lot of problems. So this is basically if you want to go in and out on this side and then out on that side or whatever. You got to basically figure out how you want to do your loop, if you're going to put it in from the front, but make sure you pay attention to the inflow and the outflow, because it will make a difference. It's the same thing with CPU blocks. You need to make sure you're doing the right direction with your fluids. So make sure you pay attention to which one you're going to go through. Now, a lot of the times in the directions, they'll tell you, look at that, in and out. So this is just one reason to read the directions alone anyway. You have the in and then the out. So you're going to make sure that when you plan your loop, you're going to do the opposite here. So like this might be in and then it might come out the other side. So we don't know how we're going to do the loop yet. This is just going to be basically for mock-up. So I'll just put it in here for now, just for fun. But now we can put the card in and see kind of like how everything's going to line up. Now, one of the things, every time I build a PC, like, it's different when you're doing, like, say, like a AIO cooler. AIO coolers are, obviously, you can only put them one way. It's not really, there's not many options compared to doing some type of, like, custom setup. So, with a custom setup, you kind of want to see how it looks. You want to kind of make it so, like, it looks good. You want to make sure it's like a piece of art. You're spending all this time, you might as well spend the extra time going through and making sure that it all works correctly. And big props to Steve for the toolkit. Toolkit works very, very well. But Fantex did include the tools, so that's a big props for them too. But we'll put this back up here. We got that. Let's throw this back in the box. I feel like this should be my title song. Steve tested it, I'm pretty sure. Pretty helps old blind guys not blow a hip. What are we talking about? That's what Steve Burke said. Need to go pro. You guys are killing me. So basically, this is the GPU that's going to go in the loop. I don't know what you're asking, bro. Alright, so I'm going to put all this back in here. Put the directions in here if I need to read them. And we're going to close that box up. And we don't need this anymore. I still love my CPU block. That thing's dope. 4th of July, they had a deal. Basically, I got these. I did a donation to Shellback Tech. If you follow Twitter, I think he's on Twitter. I don't know if he has a YouTube, but he does some cool, really, really good things. He works with veterans and basically helps them build their first computer. Does it all sponsored. So really, really good dude. I wanted to make sure I supported him, so I ended up donating, and he ended up throwing me 2 blocks. I know my buddy would really like this, so this is what is going to go on his, and he better like it, or too bad, because that's what he's going to get. So, Versilicate? Call me if you want Versilicate glass. Anyways, so yes, now we got this. We're getting there. This build is going to look pretty dope for a pretty simple build. This is not something that's going to be extraordinarily expensive. Like, it's a 1070 with a 3600X. It's really a good budget build, really. It's not going to be the cheapest of build, but it's also not going to be the most expensive. So, and I think this thing is going to look absolutely amazing. The case is absolutely beautiful by itself already. So by adding all these different components, doing it in a certain way, it's gonna look badass. So I've kind of been debating on what I want to do with the block. I think I might just throw it in this way. But I'm not sure. I was kind of thinking of doing it this way too. I don't know if that's kind of old. I don't really like using risers. I know that's gonna be a big surprise because depending on the riser you use, it could cause a performance loss. I've been talking about doing maybe a video on this, testing them out to show you guys what is actually going on with them, because a lot of the risers do not work properly, even though a lot of guys say they do. I could show you a performance matrix. I did this a couple years ago, went through all of them and basically found like which ones worked, which ones didn't, because when you're using liquid nitrogen, you get a lot of cold to the card. A lot of the times a riser would help from transferring cold to the actual board itself. So using a riser is actually beneficial because it doesn't get the board cold and it doesn't mess up the PCIe. So, but yeah, I think we're just gonna go straight with this. I don't know, maybe someone convinced me to do the other one, but I think this is just gonna look gorgeous like this alone. And then if he wants to put any other add-in cards, I think we're gonna, because this board doesn't come with Wi-Fi, so I think we might add that. I'm gonna tell him to do wired more than anything, but I think this is a good start. Let's see. Maybe, I guess we'll just put it in here for now. Or not. My fingers are too big for this, even this case, so. But yeah, what do you guys think of the build so far? You think it looks good? Any thoughts on... So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up taking this, we're going to get a smaller rad for the bottom. So it will be a rad here, and then we'll do another 3 fans, so you have push-pull. So we're going to take the air from the bottom, push it over here. I'm going to have air from the back too come in and basically flow over the board and then flow out the top because heat likes to rise. So let's get it to rise. So what I'm going to do once we build this too is we're actually going to go through and I'm going to do a thermal imaging camera and we're going to test out. Maybe try fans different ways and do everything because to see it is, you know, the best thing to do. So, Vert GPUs are a gimmick is not the truth. So what do you guys think about the build so far? You guys leave the comments below. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Remember, this is a budget build. This is not my crazy ultimate build, which is coming in the future. We'll be doing streams on that very soon. But what do you guys think of it? Do you not like the products I'm using? How do you like the EK res? This thing's pretty awesome. Do you not like the motherboard I went with, or the CPU, or the cooling setup? You let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe. I think we're going to basically call it in a little bit. It's 8 o'clock. We've been going for about 2 hours. 2 hours are pretty much on the fine like what I like to do with streams. So, but yeah. Yes, this is the 011. It's a nice case. To be honest, I like it a lot. I can't complain about it for sure. For my size hands, it's not too bad to work with. I guess we can go over a couple more things about the case because from playing around with it, there is a couple of issues that I still have with it. I don't really like how these are set up all that well. The connector on here is a little I think they could have done better. Overall though, it's pretty nicely set up. Like, there's not many issues. Like, I'm really nitpicking to find issues. I do like how I can basically have this see-through. I'm gonna actually, on this board, I'm gonna do all the wiring. I'm gonna cut all this crap up and basically make it look nice. You don't have to do that. You can basically just put the case on here. But I figured to let this flow through, it would look really badass, and then I'd just do some major cable management and keep the side off because I always like open builds. I feel like when you close it off, it just kind of makes it not look as good. So we're going to be doing we're going to hack this thing up a little bit, but overall it's pretty good. I mean, I get to fit the reservoir in there. I feel like it fits like a glove. Like, it fits pretty nice. I think I'm going to take some white sticker, like a vinyl sticker, just to put white and just to close off some of the holes. I kind of like the black holes here because this is kind of for SSDs and stuff. But yeah. It really looks nice. I think overall the build is going pretty well. I usually don't do cases, so this is kind of something not new to me, but I'm usually an open bench guy. I take different components and I'm always moving in and out. I don't really keep my components in there for too long, but yeah. So tell me guys what you guys think. Make sure you like and subscribe. Also check out, if you guys want to get to know me more, check out different PC components, and you want to support the channel, make sure you check out Patreon. We have a Discord over there, so you get automatic entry depending on what you do. I think the lowest is $2 a month. Relatively cheap. We got a good bunch of guys that help you out if you have any PC problems or if you want to do some stuff for build. Just a lot of good info in there. So we got that. Also, did I say like and subscribe? Yeah. Also, check out my links down below. You help support the channel by buying any of them. All the products here are pretty much listed in below. That helps support the channel big time, and is also a big pain in the butt, and the reason why it took so long this weekend to stream. But that's not going to be happening in the future since it's all worked out now. So, I don't know. Stay tuned for the next stream. We should probably have one on Thursday or Friday. I'll probably think Thursday, but you never know what can change in between. We're supposed to have a couple hurricanes here. Who knows what's going to go on? So, but make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can check out a lot of cool stuff we're going on. We're going to have, basically, I'm going to have a vlog start going on for the guys that want to check out and see all the different stuff that we overclock. We overclock pretty much everything. Golf carts, electric scooters, electric bikes, all sorts of things. Pretty much everything that I get, I always put my personal touch on it. So, but yeah, I think that's about it for now. Also, make sure for those GPU backplates, V1 Tech. V1, this is the ultimate build that's coming up soon. This is going to be a full EK build. This is going to be a monster. This is going to have the big Xeon W3175. We're doing the high point RAID cards in there. We're doing all NVMe drives. This thing is going to be a beast. It's going to be the ultimate, basically the ultimate machine. We're going to have dual 360 rads, a 480 rad. We're going to have two 560 rads, all watercooled. We're going to have the reservoirs just like the other box. It's going to be pretty much, it's going to be killer. So V1 Tech was nice enough to send me this for free, and he's also got a code over there. So remember, he does GPU backplates. So if you want to get a cool custom backplate and you want to get 20% off, make sure you use the code SLACKER and you'll be able to get that. So make sure you tell him that you got it from me. Obviously he'll know from Slacker, but anyways, you guys are great. I hope you like the stream. Stay tuned for many more, but I think that's about it for the day. I'm exhausted. This weekend's been a blur. I love you guys, and I will see you soon. So make sure you don't slack too much, because you know what? I will be. So I'll check you guys later, and Slacker out.